Welcome to Dask Geek. So I love when viewers submit great questions and give ideas for content, future content on this channel. And Hayes replied to a Proton VPN beta test that I had run and video that I did a few weeks back and said, thank you for the very articulate, informative review, which thank you for taking the time to leave a nice comment. It sure helps with all the trolls out there. Make sure that what I'm doing is actually useful to individuals and helping the community. So I appreciate that very much. You're going to give Proton VPN a shot. You found their email service to be spot on, and I couldn't agree more. It's one of my favorite email services out there is Proton Mail. Is there any chance you could make a similar video that explains the purpose and function of a VPN for beginners? So I would absolutely love to try to tackle that. And as always, I invite the community who have experience in this areas, potentially have additional information that they want to add to this video, to leave it in the comments below. That's what makes this a community and a group effort versus just me spouting off the knowledge that I have. So it's a really interesting question about VPNs because they're finally gaining in popularity, which is where they should be, up there with firewalls and antivirus software. So most people, when they think about security, they're like, well, I'm going to go get a good antivirus software program. Or if you're in the store and you're buying a computer, they're going to easily be able to talk you into that because even the masses are starting to understand the importance of having a good antivirus software out there. And certainly antivirus and firewall are part of the big six that I like to discuss when it comes to security. So number one being you. How do you manage your security? What are you doing online? Are you safe? Are you thinking about what you're doing before you do it? For instance, opening attachments within your email. Are your passwords secure? Are you using revolving and rotating passwords? Really, all security starts with you and your implementation. How do you have passwords set up on your machine in your physical locations? You think it's your home, so you don't password protect anything. You don't care if your kids or wife get on the computer. But what about somebody else who enters your home and be able to access all of that? If you're in a college dorm, things like that, that becomes even more important. If you're on public Wi-Fi, are you just sending secure files and data across the public Wi-Fi, assuming that nobody is actually able to intercept that traffic? And there's lots of ways they can intercept that. In fact, there's a big thing out there called spoofing, where they basically go into a crowded location like a Starbucks or something like that, and they set up basically a spoofed Wi-Fi router. It gives you access into the internet, but it allows them to view all of the data and everything that you're transmitting. So when I talk about the big six here, that becomes really important. What I'm going to do is, I think Pia VPN has a very good beginner level, how it works kind of view of a VPN. So here you have your PC, and you can see you're connecting to adult sites or your email or whatnot, and your ISP is completely able to read that, right? Or anybody else who is able to intercept that traffic. They can see it in regular language that anybody could understand, see what sites you're hitting and data you're transmitting, and you're off to the internet here, and your IP address is exposed. Now, I have Pia VPN running right now on Manjaro Linux, and so you can see that it is saying that this is my IP address, which isn't the actual IP address for my machine, and it doesn't know the ISP. It's saying it's Logic Web, which isn't who I use. And in fact, if I go to a site like what is my IP address, it's showing that I'm in New York, which in fact I'm not. So that kind of gives you an idea of, when you have a VPN, the difference, because if I didn't have this VPN on right now, what it would show is my actual IP address. It would show what city and state I'm actually in. And in fact, they can kind of pinpoint pretty close on a map. I've seen certain sites, and you type in what is my IP of about what your location is. And they can even get your browser information, the screen resolution, and that's just on a quick web browser based script. They can grab that information. Now, when you use a VPN, and you don't have to use Pia VPN, this is the one I choose, and like I said, I like their graphic here. Your PC now gets encrypted. All the data is encrypted before it gets to your ISP. So what it does when you're installing that VPN, virtual private network, is you're installing a piece of software that creates a barrier, so your traffic, instead of going straight to your ISP and out, is actually going through that VPN first, then going to your ISP and going out. So all your ISP is going to see is ones and zeros. Anybody intercepting traffic, all they're going to see is ones and zeros. Now, there's an important distinction to make here, because there are a lot of VPN services out there that are free, and there are a lot of VPN services out there that are browser-based. And the browser-based ones, like say Opera's free VPN that's browser-based, is more of like a proxy VPN. And what that means is, yes, while everything running through that browser is technically running through a VPN, anything else that's interacting on your computer, if you're doing FTPs, Dropbox, setups, or especially if you've installed the application on your computer, if you're in a Windows platform, for instance, and you have a lot of products that have product keys, and those product keys generally send information out to these manufacturers of the software that you use, like Adobe or Microsoft, and they do these random verifications to make sure you have an authentic version of the software to shut down. They also, in those terms and conditions that we all skip, generally will say, hey, we're going to send some, basic unidentifiable user information from time to time to our servers to tell us about how you're using our product. And so those who are privacy advocates obviously like VPNs. Those who use public Wi-Fi a lot definitely would love VPNs, because now any of that data that's sending out there is not interceptable. All they're going to see is ones and zeros, completely encrypted data. So a free VPN service, there's a tendency for it to be slow. Number one, a lot of them that I've tried are extremely slow and not something you could use on a regular basis, say to watch YouTube videos or Twitch or do any type of interactive media on your PC. So the general tendency then is to only use it for certain things, and what that's going to do is leave you open during that time to attack. So you want a VPN service that's fast, something you can leave on, that you're not going to be tempted to turn off, so that way you don't forget to turn it back on when you're doing something sensitive. So definitely those in college dorms, those who are behind firewalls in other countries where you can't access certain data, or even here if you want to access data that's only available, say, in the UK or somewhere else, it's been blocked due to rights or whatever that they have, permissions that they have on the video behind a firewall. You could use your VPN to connect to China or UK or Australia or wherever that content is from, so that you could view it and get around those firewalls that have been set up. So VPNs are extremely, extremely useful, and in essence, this is how they work. They basically create a barrier between and encrypt your data from the very beginning of your computer, sending information out all the way through. If you use a browser like VPN, it's just going to protect the data that's within your browser. So keep those two in mind. So as far as the big six goes, we've got antivirus protection, firewalls, external backups, difficult and revolving passwords, and a VPN. Those are the things you should definitely consider. So we've talked about a proxy versus a VPN, but what are some of the downfalls of a VPN? Well, a good VPN costs money. They're not very expensive. Generally, I think for this service, it's about $40 a year or $3 a month for PIA VPN currently on a yearly basis. So not very expensive at all, about the price that you can get a good virus and firewall suite for. And for that, if you're on Windows platform, I recommend Webroot. Has been my favorite so far. If you're in a Linux or Mac environment, then best to go to Lifehacker and check that out. Linux, there's a lot of free open source ClamAV and things that you can utilize out there that are good antiviruses. So spend your money on a VPN. You're not going to have as much, again, attacks and things on those platforms as you would, say, in Windows. So one of them is a cost. Another one is there's a lot of untrustworthy providers out there. There are thousands, it seems like, of VPN providers out there. In fact, anytime I do a video on VPN, they kind of spam comments, which generally goes into my spam folder, and I delete them. You could tell it's a fake advertisement, like, I use XYZ VPN and it's the greatest in the world, and it only costs $6.99 a month, and sign up now. And you really want to make sure you have a VPN that has a good reputation. Number one is, remember, they are now taking place of your ISP. So if they don't have trusted servers, if they're open to middleman attacks where individuals could put their own servers in between to intercept your data, then obviously your data could be at risk. So you want a trustworthy provider, and I recommend doing your own research. I use PIA VPN. It's a recommended VPN service from lifehacker.com, which is one of my favorite sites to go check out. But definitely do your own independent research and specifically look for information related to any past issues, lawsuits, data reveals, how they store their data, and also the type of protocols that they use to secure your data or encrypt your data. So that is definitely an issue, and I would be even more concerned, especially about services that are quote unquote free. I talk about this a lot in videos. There's no such thing as free. They're getting money somehow. Generally, there are a few exceptions to that in the open source community, but definitely be wary of any completely free VPN service and what it's trying to accomplish there. The other consideration is slowness. So if you choose a VPN provider that does not have a lot of hot points or servers, then you're going to have to deal with very slow connections. And like I said before, your tendency will be to keep it off. And you definitely don't want to do that. So as far as the VPN goes, you can see here, I have PIA VPN connected, and that's why it's securing my IP cloaking up here, as well as sending me through a VPN tunnel. And that protects my data and is encrypting everything that's leaving this machine. But you can also use PIA VPN, and you want to make sure you choose a provider that has multiple flexible platforms. So your phones, PIA VPN can be installed on Android or iOS, and you can secure your data there. Now, this is a very susceptible place where people get caught up, because on their phones, they end up going into, say, a Starbucks or somewhere, and they don't want to get to their data cap, so they end up connecting to that Wi-Fi. And again, you could be spoofed or leave your data completely unencrypted, and a lot of people send a lot of sensitive things from their phones, and they don't think about that. But with PIA VPN being on your phone, it does the same thing. It creates a VPN connection on your phone and allows the data to be encrypted before it goes out. So even if you're connected to a spoofed network, all they're going to get is ones and zeros, and that's going to be pretty worthless to them. They're going to move on to somebody who's not secured and be able to, be able to get their data much easier instead of trying to spend hundreds of years unencrypting your data. As far as protocols go, there are two big protocols that generally get discussed that you want to look for. Is that they have OpenVPN support and IPsec support. Those are the two encryption protocols that generally are the most preferred right now. So you would want to look and make sure they have that. So what is a VPN? It encrypts all your traffic that's leaving your computer into a VPN tunnel that's going off to other networks and hot points. It can make you look like you're in China, New York, wherever you want it to. And you generally have, with the VPN, many different server choices out there. It can allow you to get past firewalls, and it's going to kind of protect and encrypt your personal files and data. So that's it. That's my video. That's my beginner's review on what a VPN is. Again, if you have more information, please leave it in the comments below. I love to hear from the community and learn from you. So I hope this video helped you to understand VPNs a little more and why they're so useful. Again, my recommended VPN, or the one I use, is PIA VPN, but Proton VPN also looks to be very good. They've come out of beta. Their prices are a little higher than PIA VPN, but I've had success in using it on multiple platforms as well. But I would go out there and do your own research and make sure you choose one that has all of the standards and things that you're looking for. So until next time, get out there and secure your data and fill your brains.
Don't get subscribed. Does not like the video.